Hey, welcome back to Milton Daily Homes. Chuck here. We got a list of 28 properties, and just to give you an update, if people have been following on the Wheat Belly plan, where I'm not eating any wheat or gluten this month, I'm down 13 pounds. I feel fantastic. It would be something strongly to consider to remove wheat from your diet for 30 days because I can't believe some of the changes. So, anyways, besides that, if you need a hand, just give us a call or email if you want to see anything in today's list or anything, even on the side, and just let us know and we'll get you in. So let's start off with 383 Main Street, number 122. It's first floor. 324.9. It's about 1,005 square feet. It's got a nice floor plan. I don't find these units are overly impressive, but one of the things that's great, it's a green life building, so there's a lot of there's solar panels around the property. I believe there's some geothermal heat, and you can see a nice layout for the kitchen. Pretty spacious inside the crown moldings. But here's the real magic here: 1,000 square feet, $137 a month in maintenance fees, and I mean that is really, really good. And I know it doesn't include the heat and hydro there, but that's 13 cents a square foot. Unbelievable stuff. March 2013, a little bit further out, and we're starting to see that. And we talk a lot about closings really being a dead zone between about December 15th and maybe January 15th. Nobody wants to move in those days, so we find that the people who need closings next year are still looking for, they're listing their homes now, because you can't list December 1st and expect a great result, although it does sometimes happen. It's something where there's just not that market activity. Now, the buyers that are looking in December, it's good to know, are very serious. If you're looking December 15th for a house, you want to buy. You're not just messing around. You're not playing with the market. So sometimes showings can go down and sellers can get discouraged, but the good news is almost everyone coming through their house has a pretty good level of motivation. Now, same thing goes for sellers on the buying side. If they have their home listed December 15th, there's a reason why, because the unserious people have said, okay, let's just try again next year. So that can be a good thing as well. Touch match 349, 888, and so it's a Brennan model. And boy, I'll tell you, this is a good price for this home. There's one on Short Read that just sold for this price with finished basement and green space. But there's also been some big sales too. So there are some sales in the last even 30 to 60 days that indicate that this one's actually under list. And I was surprised at how low Short Read sold for. I would have thought they would have got substantially more than what they did. But somehow it's not always about attaining top dollar. Sometimes there's timelines for people. Sometimes there's life reasons, relocation, divorce, all kinds of things like that. So that can obviously change the perspective. And that's what we say to sellers sometimes is, you know what, we need to compare to 5 or 10 sales, not just 1 or 2, not just your neighbor, because there's all kinds of extenuating factors. So we really need to look at the strength of the average comes from really looking across the board. Now, Ferguson is 369.9. It's about 1,500 square feet. You've got your kitchen with the eat-in beside and some hardwood floors. Bit of a mismatch on the hardwood with the cabinets in the kitchen. It's a big master. There's one small bedroom, one medium size. Plus they've got a finished basement, plus the forest behind. I think that's pretty good. Really, there was one that sold recently for a little bit less than this without the finished basement and without the green space behind. So good stuff. The other one was a little bit better, but still that's a very strong price for this one. McEastern's been around for a long time. 384, 222. This is almost getting into last year's prices. So there's a main floor room that you can have as an extra family room or an office. Get upstairs and you've got a bit of space up there. You've got a kitchen on one side, family room on the other, and then the 3 bedrooms. No backyard, so you've got a garage with a patio above. A lot of people end up putting cedars, or they end up sort of creating a little privacy thing right here. They can put gazebos. You can't do a hot tub because there's just wood floor underneath. I have looked into that, by the way, for a client, and about 1,700 square feet. It's actually a nice floor plan. And double garage wise, to have the first number start with a 3 in the price, if you don't need the yard, it can be an excellent option. It's a nice floor plan inside. So Hobbs is 394.5. I love the effect that they did with the pot lights, especially if you have artwork or something like that. It could really, really create a nice effect. I would have changed that hood fan for 50 bucks and turned it into a black or stainless steel one. But overall, the house looks really good. And you've got California shutters here and nice neutral colors. And you back onto to the green space. And just beyond there is the school. So you will hear a bit of the school noise. But I think it is an excellent price for this one here. December 1st is their closing, and obviously seeing closing like that, if you can give it to them, create a win-win for the sellers, could be a good thing. Shepherd 409, 1,600 square foot home. It's one of my favorite Mattamy semis. It's called a Longmore. They don't make them anymore, but you've got a separate dining room plus a family room and then the kitchen. There's a little breakfast bar here. It's got a good functional kitchen layout. And the nice thing about this one here too, you've got a finished basement. So we've seen, I mean, homes even in the last 90 days with no finished basement, 100 square feet smaller, sell in the high 390s. So with all this stuff together at 409, I think they're going to do well. I think that's a great option. It's a perfect street because nobody drives on Shepherd unless they're visiting someone on the street or they live there. Very little traffic. Jemson is nice. This is another 2 or 3-story home with a double garage in the back, a laneway home. Much more upgrades than the one we saw in McEastern there. And yeah, it looks like a lot of windows here on the corner. And the nice thing is that you have a bit of privacy, not necessarily privacy, but you just have open space. You can see a nice view of the escarpment just over here. You will see the neighbor on this side, but overall it's a pretty kind of chill place to be. I actually like this one a lot. It's we've seen a bit of a slide on these models, so the price may be a little high, but they do have a good thing going. Bonin 419.8. It's a 3-bedroom semi-detached. I don't have a lot of extra information about this one. It does not back onto the train tracks, which there are some homes on Bonin that do. 305 Pettigrew. This one was listed last year, and it's 419,888. So we've got 4 bedrooms, we've got 4 washrooms, so it's got a finished basement. I believe it's got a kitchen down there. 1,824 square feet plus that finished basement. Tough part with this one for me, so that's the home. And Pettigrew is another good street that if you don't live on it, there's very little traffic. I mean, it's like you have no reason to go on Pettigrew if you don't live on it. So the problem is there's Maple right there. It's good, I suppose, if you want to walk to the movie theater just down the street. You can go to some restaurants around here, Casey's. You can go to Sunset Grill. But that's Thompson right there. So you have 2 relatively, well, Thompson's definitely busy. And these trees have started to grow. And I think eventually they're really going to create a nice space here. But you'll hear the road there on Thompson. And you're going to get the lights. You're going to get those big bright lights from Home Depot. That's the tricky part about this location is just where it is. The home itself, if I remember, was okay, but wait for the photos and check it out for yourself. Rose Heath is 419.9. It says it's a detached, but it is linked usually by the foundation. You've got double wide driveway, which means you can fit 2 cars side by side. And boy, I've helped a lot of people move almost exclusively because they hate doing this with their cars. So 2 right beside each other is definitely a very good thing. This home has been renovated extensively. There's some great hardwood floors here, nice decor. I love the fact that there's a lot of storage space here in the dining room in addition to the kitchen. So there's a nice flow between these 2 spaces here. They open the wall up a little bit. And they've got a nice functional space here. Really nice. And there's 3 bedrooms upstairs. It says 4 over here, but that's because the one in the basement ends up being put up in the bedrooms there. So Andrews is 427.5. You get a finished basement, and the parquet is pretty easy to take out. Living, dining, kitchen, and then you got 3 big bedrooms upstairs. And a pretty decent sized lot. So there it is. I think overall the fact that it's 2,000 square feet plus 730 square feet, 9-foot ceilings on the main floor, there is a lot of space there. It's probably one of the better deals for size in that price range. Caverhill, detached home, 4 bedrooms, double wide driveway like we talked about. 435. So a little bit older. I mean, you're probably not that far from getting a roof replaced. The windows and furnace should last for a fair bit, but yeah, you probably need to do a little bit of work in here. They've done the moldings. If you put hardwood in here for probably $3,000 or $4,000, you get a pretty good looking main floor. A countertop's probably $100. It's not a big deal. Yeah, there's a lot of potential with something like this, and if you landed under 450 by the time you were all done, and you've got a park close by, and you've got a nice mature neighborhood, the trees are really nice and big here. I think you're doing exceptionally well. It's a good deal in my eyes. Spire Circle is 439, and so it's a 1,500 square foot home. And if you look, it almost looks like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. It's got a little bit of a tilt to it. 1,500 square foot semi. You'd expect normally for them to sell anywhere between 390 and 410 depending on the inside. And then we've got the pie-shaped lot. So it does have a pie-shaped lot. Anything extra bonus for that pie shape would be, I guess, the rationale for listing it. That seems a little bit high unless the home is exceptional and it's a pretty good pie-shaped lot. Swindale's about 2,000 square feet, 449. Nice upgrades in here. Big thick slab of granite on the counter. It looks like a pretty open concept design. Glass shower. Nice designer finishes on this one. The 9-foot ceilings. And it's only attached by the garage, but it's still a semi. It's always going to remain in that category. So that's something to consider too. 449. I could see somebody paying that money for this one, especially if it looks really, really good in person. So Cedar Hedge, 455, 1820 square feet. Be careful because there's a lot of development happening over on this side very soon. There's going to be a lot of new homes there. And so inside, you get inside the home, and you've got a living dining just off to the side, the nice rounded archways, which we see very few of in a lot of the newer homes. And then you've got, yeah, so that would be the actual tucked in part, what would be considered the living room part of that. Nice open concept kitchen that looks like a 9-foot ceiling, which has a nice effect on this model, makes a big difference. And family room plus the bedrooms upstairs. A little bit of not a lot of closet space in the master bedroom, so that tends to be a complaint for this one. Again, not a bad deal there. Clark is 459. It's a palace, about 1,900 square feet. One of the staging tips we tell people is don't put anything up on top of your shelves there. It never looks good. It always looks cluttered in real estate photos. In person, it's not bad, but it's better just to take all that stuff out. Family room plus a front living dining, and then you've got your upstairs. So this one, they've converted this bedroom to an open room, so you could pretty easily put it back to a 4th bedroom if you wanted to, with I would say minimal effort. And it's right across from a park. Clark's a little bit busier, but 459 seems pretty good to me. There's just a lot of competition right now, and you've got these guys just above, and you're talking 2,100 square feet. You're talking like a couple hundred square feet bigger. Hardwood floors. It's a nice layout. You've got a separate living room plus a separate dining room. The pink and the orange and the reds, those are tough colors for real estate listings. So there's no hardwood in the family room on this one, but the kitchen looks decent, and it's definitely an attractive price. It used to be this was almost guaranteed to get you $500,000 to have what these guys have. So they've slid a little bit, and again, competition based. Babcock is 474.8. So we've got a looks like a single car garage on this one. That's what it says in the description. January 11th is their possession, so they're looking for something just after New Year's. Yeah, and you've got a combined living dining on this one here. A finished basement is definitely nice. I think it's a good price though. I mean, 474.8. You know, the street sometimes it's starting to show its age depending on the house you're looking at. To let's a 479. We're looking at, I think this one's about 1,900 square feet, and you've got crown moldings. It's basically one big room, and then you've got a kitchen with an area big enough for a pretty big eat-in table. Nice choice on finishes. I think the colors look great. They've upgraded some of the light fixtures, and it's $480 for a double car garage. So it's all good. 9-foot ceilings. That's a hot property. $488 for a single garage. These guys are starting to get scaled out of competition. It's around the same size as the previous one, but only a single car garage. Yeah, I just think they're getting beat based on what else is for sale. Could you argue this price is fair based on what these models have at some point in the past sold for? Yes, but it's not going to happen right now. Eager is at 5089. It looks like they have some kind of a pie-shaped lot here. And so inside, nice looks here. I mean, they've done a good job with their upgrades. Cross and 5, it's a different market up there. They could get it. They've got the double wide driveway. They've got the aggregate, everything like that. It might happen. It's better than the 530 they were at before, 535. So Stringer, 539.9. You've got a 120-foot deep lot, which is, I think, outstanding. Get rid of the stuff beside your fridge because it always shows up in the photos. They could have taken some stuff off the counters. That looks like a Corian countertop. It could be laminate, but it's probably Corian. You've got the iron pickets on the stairs. Let me show you something I saw in the kitchen, actually. I forgot to mention this. Look at what happened with that cabinet there. That, to me, is not the way it's supposed to be. So I don't know if this door is maybe hitched up or something. You can see the offset. But those cabinets have to be flush. I don't know what's going on there. I got so distracted by the brooms I didn't mention that. I don't know why you need 3 shots of basically the bathroom cabinets. But anyways, it is what it is. And 539, we know it's less than 2,500 square feet. It's got a good sized lot. So if it's half decent inside and the cabinets are straight, may not be such a bad deal. Lederman, and so we're talking, that's a great shot of the whole main floor here. And some good finishes inside, 546. It looks like a Royal Fern on the main floor. You have a bigger entrance though, because this is 2,300 square feet, separate entrance to the basement. So the extra couple hundred square feet, we talk about functional space versus just raw square footage. It's one of those things that it's probably a little high based on the competition, but it does have some things going for it. Caldwell 549. I'm sorry, it's not a very good looking home on the outside. Like 2 tiny windows up here, and then there's like a brick wall. Like you could probably play handball on that thing, and then there's just 1 window there. So, anyways, they might have some good windows in the back, but the front to me looks like a ridiculous home. Some of the builders, Arista's bad for it. Costcorp sometimes bad for it. They don't make pretty homes on the outside. So 549, it's a 4-bedroom, 4-washroom. It has a finished basement, and I think the finished basement may be the difference on this one here. McCutcheon's 552.9. I did the map look on it. It's either this one here, which is the Scotswood 2350 square feet, or this, it's a Newgate, which is 24 something. So 2,400 square feet. Even though from the room measurements, it's hard to tell the difference. But that seems like a pretty good price. It even says a partly finished basement. Sometimes that can just mean studs that the builder put up. So be really careful on that one. I don't have any other information, but that's a pretty good price. So Holdsworth 579. It's a sundial home, and that's probably the biggest kitchen you're ever going to see in a sundial home because they don't make very big kitchens. Pretty open concept main floor, and looks like they've done hardwood throughout. I always convert my measurements to feet because 30.5 meters is not something all of us are able to imagine, but most of the listings have feet, so that's 36 by 100 feet if you're looking to count that up. And there's a finished basement on this too. It's weird, a lot of these homes are not showing their finished basement. I mean, there's 3 or 4 of them in today's list. Roseheath, this one, that just there's no photos of that very, I think, valuable area, and it's surprising to me. So McFerrin, 599.9. We talked about McFerrin as being, there's some development there. There's the rural farm. We've got a school up on the north side. This is on the south side of the street, but be careful of what's going on around you. This is basically very similar to the Wood Lily. It looks like they've reconfigured the kitchen a little bit, and it looks like there's some decent upgrades in here. I still maintain if you're going to list for 600,000, put a couple thousand worth of appliances in, at least decent enough that they float at the level of the house. But the tile choices looks good, and overall I think it's a pretty strong listing. I think they're gonna have a bit of a tough time at this price. Although I have seen, same as we talked about with some of the previous models, have these models sold for this in the past? Yes, I just don't know if it's going to happen right now. And Maddox is an excellent street. It's in Coates Crossing, so it's in the Tiger Jeet School District. 858.5. We're looking at, it says 3,800 square feet, but if you Google Mattamy Queens Grove, it's 3,600 square feet, 3,603, and there's 152 square foot area that's just above, like just it's open space. So you can't count that as square footage, but a lot of them do. They say it's 38, but it's really not. It's 36. Two staircases in this model. Nice huge kitchen here. You've got some upgrades on the countertops. You get a big tub sink. Great color choices. California shutters it look like in one of those rooms. And that's a pretty awesome place to do laundry. You could even have a little, if you weren't doing laundry, I wonder if this could be a little area where you could sew, or maybe the kids do homework here. It could be a bit of a multifunction space. And there it is. So it's a 56 by 80 foot lot. It's not the deepest, but it's pretty wide, and they're actually decent sized backyards. So that's 858. I think they'll have a tough time. It's really slow up in the 8s right now, although we have seen in the last few months a couple sales even in the 900s. So that is the list for today, and I know it was a long one, so thanks for hanging around, staying with us. And if you need any help at all, we're definitely there for you. You can take a tour of homes, and we run those 7 days a week. You can come to Starbucks, or you can even come to the buyer class, and that's actually coming up in probably about a week and a half or so, about 10, 11 days. So have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.